Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to share how I painted the 16-inch by 20-inch canvas, and it was inspired by a little artist trading card that I made last week. See that little thing? That is 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, but I love the design and I thought that would be really cute on a canvas. I also got these new acrylic markers to try, so I thought they would be fun to do this project with. And I started by sketching out with this beautiful green. It's kind of like a sap green color, and just looking at my artist trading card and the reference photo, which you can see up in the corner, I sketched on this leaf. So I took this photo at Surrey Gardens in Surrey, Maine, which is a greenhouse, and they had this gigantic Monstera plant, and I thought it was just beautiful. It's the biggest Monstera I've ever seen, and I just took a kind of a cropped in photo of it. And when I got home, I was thinking, I should have probably zoomed out and got a better picture of the entire plant. But then I was looking at it and I loved the way that I cropped it, and I thought, no, that would be a really good painting just as it is, because you can tell it's a leaf, but it's also a little bit abstract, and those plants are just really cool anyway. So I thought this would be a really fun project to do. And I also thought this would be great to hang in my studio bathroom because it's got aqua teal kind of colored walls, and I thought the pink and the green and the teal would look really good together. I'm gonna base coat in with some fluid paint. This is the Meeden matte soft body acrylic. The reason I'm doing this is because I know I will run those poor little markers dry if I try to do this a huge underpainting area with that. Plus, that would take an age, to do that with the little marker tip, when I can use a nice 1-inch flat brush to fill in some of these shapes. Now, the Meeden paints are very transparent, so I did give it 2 layers. I didn't want to give you that. I don't know if that's apparent as I'm painting here, but I painted it, let it dry, and then went and did another layer. But this dries really quick. This paint is it's very kind of like thin and self-leveling, so it dries super quick. It's really nice for gel printing, actually, but I thought it would work out really well for this, and it did. And I really like the colors that I have in this line, and this is kind of like a Pepto-Bismol pink, but I really wanted a vibrant pink. I'm like, I know I can dull it down if I need to in the future, but I like to start a little bit brighter than I'm gonna want it. So I'm using a paint puck here. I have a couple paint pucks full of water, and I had that little shallow one, and I thought, I'm going to squeeze that paint right in the bottom palette wells there. That's what it's for, honestly. It's not just to collect your water drips, but I'm using this paint puck that doesn't have water in it to just hold my paint there on the sides, because I know I'm not going to stick my my paints on that one to dry. So works great for that, and then I didn't have to get out another palette, because I always tend to run out of space when I'm painting. It's like I'm like a goldfish. I fill whatever space I have when I'm working on a project. So I started with this lighter sap green color and just went around and just kind of sketched in the veins on the plant. I know it looks so sketchy right now, but that's all right. I think when you've been painting for a while, you kind of know what's going to come next, so you don't freak out about the messy middle or the ugly beginnings. And you can kind of see what I meant about this paint being streaky and transparent. Well, maybe not so much streaky, it's just very transparent, so it looks streaky on that white on the white canvas, but that's fine because I'm using this for the background. And you can see as it overlaps the pink, because pink and green are kind of opposites. Well, red and green are, so they'd be opposites too. They make almost a black there at those edges. And I figured this is going to give me, not only is it going to cover the canvas fairly quickly, it's going to give me a nice sense of depth as we get those greens from the markers in later. The brushes that I'm using, there are a variety of different brands. I think I've got some Simply Simmons. I have some Zen Almedia. Zen Almedia is probably the one I use the most because I have so many of them, but Simply Simmons is also really good for acrylics or gouache. I use them interchangeably, actually. I've got this container of brushes, and they're all just golden Taklon brushes, and there's mostly Zen Almedia. I also have some Menta Almedia, and I have some Simply Simmons, and any of those kind of I would say acrylic type golden Taklon brushes. They would be kind of like a firm watercolor brush, or like your basic acrylic tool painting brush kind of. And I use those anytime I'm using acrylics or or gouache. And the reason I mention this every single time I do a painting is because they hold up so well. I've been using the same batch for about 5 years, and they are still, the handles are starting to get a little funky, like getting a little dull because sometimes I forget to take them out of the water, but they just hold up so well, especially the Zens because they have a plastic or acrylic handle. The Simply Simmons have a wooden handle, but they're holding up great too. I've gotten better about not leaving my brushes in the water. Now you can kind of see the areas where I put that second coat on, they're getting a lot more solid. It's still kind of patchy, but it doesn't really matter for this because I'm going to go over it with the markers to add the pattern. And I didn't mind it having a little bit of patchiness because I didn't want just a solid field of color. Because if you look at the Monstera leaf, the reference photo, you see there's a lot of different tones in there. And, I'm not going to go out of my way to make it super flat, only to go over and add specks and textures and stuff on top. So I like to refer to my swatch card. This actually came with a swatch card to fill out, so that was really handy. I could see exactly the color my markers were going to come out. I'll have a full review on these. Actually, probably by the time this video comes out, I already have a review of the Enemy markers, but they're another new brand on the scene, at least new to me. I had never heard of them before, and they contacted me and asked me if I'd like to try out some of their products, and I said, sure. I had been turning down people with acrylic markers, companies with acrylic markers, but then I started talking to people about markers, and I couldn't believe how excited people were for the acrylic markers. And when I was destashing and moving my studio, that's the number one thing people were asking for was acrylic markers. And I was like, well, shoot, I should have said yes to those companies. I could have reviewed the markers, and then all these people would have had markers to take home. But yeah, they're really wonderful, especially the brush tip ones. There's several brands that I like. I like the Ohuhu. I like the Art X. They both have the markers that you have to shake, because they have they have liquid ink in them. I prefer those to the markers that have the cotton core that you don't shake, but it depends on whatever you like. I find the ones that have the cotton core to be a little more translucent, but then you don't have to deal with shaking them. So I mean, it's kind of everyone has their preference, right? If you get annoyed by having to shake your markers every time you use them, then probably the cotton core ones would be a better fit for you. I like the liquid ink because I also like to shake them and hear that there's ink in there and know for sure that I'm not running out. These markers don't have a window in them, but the Art X and the Ohuhu have a little window so you can kind of see if you have any ink left. The Ohuhu has a nice wide long window so you can see exactly how much you have left. I hope they come out with a refillable option of the brush tip markers, because I think that would just be a game changer, because they have the refills now for some of their markers, some of their acrylic markers. It would be great if you could open those up and refill them, because I find the brush tips last pretty well. But then again, I haven't emptied too many, so maybe they would wear down by the time you used up the ink. I don't know, but they definitely could sell replaceable nibs, because I had one nib dry out on an Art X marker, one of the liquid filled Art X markers, and there was still plenty of ink in there, and the marker dried out. So I popped it out and just soaked it in some rubbing alcohol to get the ink kind of dissolved out of the nib, and then popped it back in. It's not, I have to check on it. It wasn't working that great last I checked, but they could sell replacement nibs as well, which I think would be great, because it's nice when you don't have to buy a whole new set when you use up a marker, which these all come in sets, right? They don't come individually, but Ohuhu is selling individual marker refill inks for the acrylic markers. So if you're able to just refill those colors you use the most, boy, that would be awesome. Especially those nice mid greens, like the sap green, the olive green, that like pastel green. Those colors are the ones that you use up so quickly. And for me, it's like the coral pinks and the reds. I use those up a lot. I would love to get refills of those. Sorry for my head being in the way. And this took me, oh my gosh, I felt like I was painting this all day. Jason said I had a couple hours of footage he had to go through, and a lot of them was like the back of your shirt, Lindsay. But since there's so many repetitive steps, I don't think it was that big of a loss. I decided to clean up the edges with kind of a dark teal green, because where the green and pink overlap, sometimes I had a weird edge, or sometimes I didn't quite have a smooth edge, or maybe I had a little sketch of my original green line that went in the pink, and I just found that was a great way to clean it up. I'm going to also shadow and highlight the holes so we have a little bit more dimension. That's going to come up a little bit. But yeah, this is a really fun project. Put on I put it on something I'd wanted to listen to, and I just kind of vibed out making this painting. It was so much fun. And I think that's another reason why ATCs are so cool, those tiny little cards, because you can do a tiny little painting, and then if you really love the design of it, you could be like, oh, I could just upsize that onto a canvas and, you know, take some time on it. But it doesn't take you that long to make an artist trading card or an ACEO card, and you can kind of get some design work done, which is kind of fun. It's like doing a thumbnail sketch, really, but then you have a little mini piece of artwork to show for it rather than just a sketch in a sketchbook. Of course, you're spending more time on it. I don't know. It's just kind of fun and novel. And I think as artists, we need to do those fun, novel things because it keeps our brains active and it just keeps the creativity flowing and gets us out of a rut. You know, we all do. We all fall in these ruts. And sometimes it can be hard to bust out of them. And a tiny little artist trading card is 2 inches by 3 inches. It's the same size as a playing card or a baseball card. And it doesn't have to be precious, right? You can mess around on that. If it's absolute garbage, well, throw it away. Who cares? Paint over it, you know? You haven't invested that much time. You haven't invested that much in materials. And I think it's just wonderful. So what I'm doing here, there's a lot of really pale shades of green and yellow and kind of teal and sage, and next to that bright green leaf and that bright pink background, they almost look white, don't they? They almost look like white or gray. So as I was putting these colors down from the markers, because I had so many different, a variety of colors there, and they look so different on the swatch on this dark background, I'm not noticing that much difference. But I'm like, you know what, just stick with it, Lindsay. It's gonna really pay off to have this variety of different tones, even if they just look so white right now. And it did pay off. So yeah, use all the colors, not all the colors, but use all those different ranges of greens and sages, and, you know, create that interest, those aquas, those teals, all those colors are in there. And I do tend to push my color because, you know, looking at my reference photo, that's not like a photo I would frame or anything. That's a photo that you take to remember something, right? I took that photo not because I thought, oh, that's a beautiful photo. I took that photo because it's like, I want to paint something like this, but I don't want all that muckety muck in the background. I want something bright. I want to take the leaf and put it against something bright. Of course, there's probably some app on your phone that would do that for you. I'm sure there's probably one of those background remover tools or something fancy, but I'm an analog girl, so doing this with paint is my jam. And it was so much fun. I was questioning myself though around like hour 3 working on this. I'm like, what am I doing? I thought this would be like, honestly, when I started this painting, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to do that this morning. And then in the afternoon, I'm going to do this other project. And meanwhile, it's like I finished, it was like 7 p.m. or something. I mean, granted, I do take breaks and work on other things during the process. You know, I got computer stuff to do and other admin tasks and stuff. So I'll take a little break here and there, but this took a lot longer. And one thing that I was challenged by as I'm making these little marks, there's so many little spots and lines and splotches that I had to be really, if you can see my head kind of looking from the canvas to my reference photo, I had to be really mindful not to just make the same shape over again. So I wanted to, okay, I'm going to do some dots now. Okay, I'm going to do some little lines. Okay, I'm going to do a big splotch. And to vary, I had to make sure I varied my color and varied my shape that I was putting down. So that's, again, where those different shades of marker came in handy. And this was the 80 color set, so there are a lot of different shades there. And they're all unique. Like when I was swatching them out, I was like, wow, they really have a lot of colors. And one thing that impressed me with these markers was that the reds were pretty vibrant and transparent and really had a good pop to them. So that was kind of nice to really put them into practice with this painting, because a swatch will only tell you so much. And that's why I like to do a painting before I review something, not just swatch it, because some things will become apparent after you paint with them. Some things you thought were great when you swatched them will not be great. Some things you think that are not great actually turn out to be pretty great when you actually use them. Like the meat and acrylics, when I swatched them, I'm like, oh, they're also transparent. I don't know if I'll be able to use these for what I want to use them for. But then as I started to use them for different projects like gel printing and undercoating, base coating, underpainting, I was able to see their potential. Now, I wasn't crazy about that pink. It was just a little too cool. I wanted something that had a little bit more of a coral undertone. So I took this this beautiful coral colored marker, and I just painted over all of the pink background. And it took a minute, and I was kind of worried that I was going to run out of ink in the marker, and I didn't. There was still ink left in that when I was done. I wouldn't want to push it though. I wouldn't want to have done this background all pink and then painted the leaf over it. I think that would have toasted it, and then I wouldn't have had any for touching up. So this was a pretty good way to do it, I think. So after I got another coat on the pink with the marker, I just did one coat of the marker on top of the pink paint. Then I went in with the black brush tip marker there and did the shadow lines. So what I did basically was the top edge of each hole and an edge of the leaf I did with a black brush pen. And as I was doing that, I saw areas where, I should have brought the green out more. And so I just kind of put that black in there, and then I went back in and touched up green and pink as need be. And because I knew the black, when I put that black down, it was not going to be easily to cover over with any of those other colors. So I just made sure the black was in the right space, and then I could fill in with other colors as needed. And I turned my canvas every which way so that I had a nice smooth line, because I get a much better line if I'm pulling a line towards my dominant hand. Now I did switch over to a Copic Acrylic white fine tip marker because I was having I couldn't get a fine enough line with the brush pen from the Me set. So this is a Copic Acrylic. Those are $3.50 a piece at Blick, so they're not crazy expensive. There's only 24 colors in the Copic Acrylic line. At first I thought they were kind of overpriced for what they were, but the fact that you can order them individually, I could see myself buying a white and maybe I don't know, I could see myself maybe picking up a couple colors as I ran out of them, but I don't think I'd rebuy the sets, because the sets it's unlikely you're going to use all the colors at the same level, you know what I mean? After I did the highlights on the opposite of where the edges where I did the black, I did the white. After I did that, I just went through and touched up anything I needed to touch up. And then I realized it needed a little more dimension. So I took a couple colors of red from the Meeden paints and a 3/8 inch angle brush, and I just painted a really bold shadow underneath each of the hole. Well, it's underneath the leaf, so it's on the same area where the shadow is. It's up against that shadow edge is where I did a 3/8 inch wide. It's probably about a 1/2 inch wide actually by the time I got it painted, wide stripe. So I mixed a naphthol red light with some crimson, I believe, to get that color, because the pink that I had gone over with a marker had a little bit more of a coral undertone, so I really wanted that naphthol red, but that was a little bit too orange, so I added a little crimson in there to get the color that I wanted. My hair's kind of a frizzy mess because I just washed it and just threw it up in a bun, but so I'm sorry. And yeah, no makeup. I'm just, living my life, living my artist life, and there you see it. I did sign my name with a liner in that red paint, that same red I used for the shadow, but there it is. I also gave it a coat of gloss varnish the next day, and I love how it came out. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!